Michelle. He's a swimmer, so
Oh.
like that one had gone over very well.
Testing.
Zoe was a swimmer in freshman and sophomore year. She did both marching band
Okay.
and something. She used to literally like, we would be running from the meet to, she'd be running on the field wet and get there just in time for halftime.
Testing.
Yeah, she had no
It was
desire to
kind
do
of a
that.
joke. But yes, she was done junior year. She was like, I can't, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm sorry. I was like, I like marching band better.
Yeah.
He's actually doing that musical right now.
Sorry,
so
I'm
he's
talking to
there
you.
in Tech Week, so.
My brother's
Asking, oh,
so yeah. I'll go quick to a bath for this, and then I realized he still has like an hour after work before I get home, so he's done.
they're there till 9.
Is that what on that side or that side?
Volume's over there.
Might be really high, it feels.
Really high.
That was really bad. I just turned it off, so you know.
Well, it works now, so allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just noticed that tonight, so, and don't turn it down too low, I'm not really sure, it's a little.
It was on like 9.
Oh my.
Oh, you got her?
Does it
Okay.
sound better?
If we get any feedback, we might have to play with it tonight, but it just sounded a little loud.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I don't have a pen. Kylie. You need something. Here, I have you time to take a pencil. There we go. We're good.
Big fan of my heated steering wheel. It's really nice.
That's a deal breaker in a car.
I think Katie was gonna join us online.
Okay.
Just feel like
I have a 2012 Subaru Forester, so I feel that with your 23.
What?
It's like the volume in the room.
That's what,
Exactly.
I'll see what I can do, but like.
Is that because you have something on your computer, Kylie?
Speakers might be the one.
That's something like
They
5.
did a lot of problems with.
Try that. That's better.
Oh, I think we got it fixed, Kylie.
Yeah, we think we got it.
Yeah.
The volume up there was, the speakers up there was way too loud.
Oh, okay, perfect. And it's all controlled on there.
Apparently it is. There's still a little bit of
Hallway
echoing.
speaker, general, and this center speaker.
We're learning things tonight with that situation, so thank you, Chrissy.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. Go ahead and call to order the February 2nd, 2026 Parks Recreation and Forestry Commission meeting. Kylie, roll.
Yes, I'll go back to here. All right, I'm just gonna go around the room here tonight. Adams, West, Bond, Mayor, Pollock. I'm not gonna say this right, but last name is
Procorat.
Pokerat. I'm gonna keep working on it. Tressler are all in person here tonight in Common Council. Nelson let us know that she would be attending virtually, but I don't see her online at this point. So we have a quorum. Oh wait, admit. That would be helpful. Hi, Katie. We're just taking roll, and I had the screen showing please admit, so I apologize. That was my doing. I didn't click that right away.
Is she able to hear us?
Can you hear us?
I can, I'm sorry. I muted myself.
No worries. We just want to make sure we're all good to go with technology. We had a few the volume control was a little funky in the room, so.
Oh, okay. No, it sounds great.
All right, all members are present and we have a quorum tonight.
Awesome. All right. And first order of business will be approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Do we have any changes to those minutes? Right, then I'll accept those minutes as submitted. On to the new business. We do have a new member of PRC tonight. Andre, is that right? Right. So, welcome. Thank you for volunteering your time and Monday, every other Monday nights to join us here at the Parks meetings. I think it'd probably be a good idea to kind of just go around the dais here to introduce ourselves, so you know who we all are, and I'd say just your name, how long you've been on the commission. If there's any other information you'd like to share, that'd be great as well. I'll start. I'm Nick Adams. I'm the chair. I've been on Parks and Recreation Commission since 2018. I started in May of 2018, I think it was. So almost 8 years. Been chair, I think, for the last 3 or 4. Prior to that, I was vice chair. Also serve on planning commission as kind of virtue of being chair of this committee. Go that way then, and then come back that way.
I'm Susan West. I been involved in city government. First got on Conservancy lands back in 2004. Was elected to council in 2008 and served until 2020. I think it was. And then after I got off the mayor appointed me to parks, this was one of the few committees I never served on. Served on most of the rest of them, but I will say it was working with the public land staff that actually got me into politics. So kind of you can blame Penny Klein.
My name is Lily Tressler. I've been here for a year. That sounds right.
Yes. But you're already also. Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm the student member, so I'm also at Middleton High School.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Erica Pollock. I've been on for 4 years. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm also on fertility academies. I'm looking at also using 2015.
I'm Michelle Bond. I've been on it for about 3 years. And just a citizen.
I'm Kylie Scher, Parks and Rec Director. We virtually met without our faces, so yeah. I just want to say thank you so much for volunteering your time. I just want to echo what Nick says. This is a large commitment for volunteerism, and we just appreciate the attention and the time taken for the community to represent our department and the community. So thank you.
And then I'm Laura Gessling, Assistant Director for Parks and Rec for the recreation side, and I'm not normally here. I'm here when needed. Yeah. I'm needed tonight.
And I'm Josh Williams, Recreation Coordinator for the City of Middleton. I am also not here unless I am needed, and tonight I'm here. So
awesome. I started at the right time.
yes.
I'm Jim Prokrat. I have lived in Middleton now for about 2 years. We own a home over on North Avenue, kind of by Willow Street. I've been coming up to Middleton for a little over 10 years with my partner. She's from here, her parents live up Parmenter Hill. And yeah, we have 2 kids. I've probably hit every park a handful of times with them on my bike in the trailers. So even just reading through the previous minutes and learning about things you all do and plan to do.
Thank you.
And I'm Chrissy Meyer. I've been, I'm one of the members, and I've been 6-ish months on that committee, and lived in Middleton for 10 years. I have 2 girls in high school.
All right, on to our next order of business then. Alcoholic beverages designation for camp out and conservancy events.
Josh is going to lead this conversation. This is an event that our recreation division is putting on, and they're going to give a little introduction to the event and why it's being presented in front of you all for a decision.
All right. So Camp Out in the Conservancy is a 2-day family-oriented overnight program scheduled for Friday and Saturday, August 7th and 8th, 2026, at Orchid Heights Park. The new community event is designed to provide a safe, welcoming introduction to camping for families within our community. Registered families will be given a participant wristband, assigned individual campsite spaces, creating an organized, supervised, and community-focused camping environment. On Friday afternoon and evening of the event, participants will engage in a variety of structured activities and stations, opportunities for free play and nature exploration, and shared experiences intended to promote family engagement and connection. Dinner will be provided by local community sponsors, and families will be invited to participate in communal s'mores experiences around the open campfires. The setting allows participants to enjoy both the amenities of Orchid Heights Parks and the adjacent Pheasant Branch Conservancy in a safe and accessible manner. Overall, the program aims to promote outdoor recreation, strengthen family bonding, and encourage appreciation for local park and conservancy resources, while offering a low barrier entry point to camping for members of the community. Under Middleton Ordinance 21.01-I, no person shall have in his or her possession or drink beer, wine, or intoxicating liquor, any alcoholic beverages regulated under Wisconsin statute, chapter 125, in the park, except in those parks designated by the Board of Park Recreation and Forestry Commissioners. We are requesting at Orchid Heights Park be temporarily designated as an approved park for alcohol possession and consumption for the duration of the campout in the Conservancy event.
Questions, comments?
And
Is the
we'll,
police department going to be notified that if we approve this, that there will be alcohol there?
Yes. Yeah, we've been having conversations with Middleton
why is
PD.
this tape?
Yeah. So that, yeah.
Is there any designations of like aluminum versus glass?
Yeah, so
That's in our ordinance that we don't allow glass like in the parks, but you can follow up.
yeah, so the idea behind this is we're gonna do like no glass containers and handle, aluminum or cans to the best of our ability. Yeah.
This is just a map showing what of Orchid Heights Park and the designation of where alcohol would be permitted during the event period. So that, and this is the staff recommendation that we have drawn up. I know it's in 4 parts, but we worked with the city attorney to just outline and review this and see if there was any concerns for that designation. In the future, I would like to have more of a robust discussion. I think having a designation list, we didn't know where to find like what is already designated as parks that can allow alcohol, because it's not, well, where do I look for that, such a thing? And I would have to go through all the minutes, like when was that decided? So instead of having it, I'm walking down this whole thing, but I'm just saying that I'm not really positive what parks.
I have an idea of how we could address this, but that's not an agenda item.
No, it's not in the agenda item, but I think looking, I can't help but notice what's in the language right now needs to definitely be adjusted, right? And I know that's not a part of the agenda item, but heads up.
Oh yeah, so presently Lakeview Park and Firefighters Park are the 2 that we found that were designated areas, and we're asking for temporary designation, for specifically for this event.
Not to exceed the event, or not to always designate Orchid Heights for alcohol from this point forward, but we're just asking for the event and for the event grounds only tonight.
I just have a couple of questions. I say this, A, as somebody who lives in Wisconsin, obviously, and grew up here. And B, somebody who, when I go camping, the very first thing I do when I'm done setting up my camper is crack open a beer.
Yeah.
Given this is a family kind of oriented event, do we see the need to even allow alcohol at the event?
So when you go camping, as you mentioned earlier, people will bring beer or alcohol to events. So our idea behind getting permission for this space to have alcohol at this event will assist us in allowing that access and limit or reduce the number of police interactions that we would need for illegal containers.
Okay, so it's kind of like a hedge, because the kind of the idea is that people are probably going to bring it or sneak it in if it's not allowed.
Yep.
And therefore, let's just hedge against that and try to reduce the amount of conflict, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, because we want this event to be positive and to have families, enjoy themselves within reason. But in doing, if alcohol is, still prohibited, then there will be, it's on our staff to enforce or reach out to Middleton PD to enforce those laws.
And we're in no way for this event like promoting this through our promotion and communication. But if somebody asks, or we just want to provide that information too, we're not
selling it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, our goal is not to sell or promote alcohol consumption during that event. It just so happens if
I like that.
Yeah, if they arrive and if they show up.
So it's not gonna like fall into a large public drunkenness.
No, that is not the aim. The aim is, we have scout groups that are working towards volunteering for kind of jamboree type camp games. We have campfires planned and different subcommittees that were interested in having little stations for those activities. And it just, gives an opportunity then for parents to walk around and spend time with their children like they would at a campground or campsite.
Sounds like a really nice event. Just out of curiosity, how many staff are sleeping over or staying?
So right now we have tentative plans for like most of our rec team.
And our spouses, not all of them know that yet.
And we have a few like family members that will likely participate as well. I have 2 children. They will likely attend as well with my wife. But so we have a decent number of staff, and right now we're still kind of in the planning phase of having those designated staff in certain areas. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really fun event.
Nick, I don't know if you can see me, but I had my hand raised a little bit, but.
Try that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. I was actually going to ask kind of what Nick did. Like, do we think no one will come if we don't have alcohol? I liked your explanation. I love the fires, different fire pits and stuff. I love that idea. Is there any plan for like music at the fire?
So right now we have a sound permit for the event. We're pretty hesitant about having this music throughout the event because that takes away from kind of the exposure to nature in our parks. And so I don't foresee us having just music playing throughout the event.
No, that's not what I'm asking. Like a guitar player around the fire singing campfire songs.
Oh, I don't see why not.
We're still in planning phases for sure. So any ideas people have, we're talk to Josh. Yeah, that sounds like a really fun idea. I like that.
Cool, thanks.
I would love to have someone.
Josh is getting very
Yeah.
excited over here.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I'm gonna write that down.
Having an acoustic guitar or other like instruments and doing some campfire songs. That sounds awesome.
Any other questions or concerns? We don't have any. I'll accept a motion either to approve or deny.
And this is I know this is a really long motion.
You could probably just, whoever makes the motion could probably truncate it and say with the condition, with the attached conditions. You don't want to read the whole thing.
I will make a motion that we approve the location for alcohol beverage possession and consumption, et cetera, and all the recommendations, the 4 recommendations made below.
Should work. All right, do you have a motion? Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. Agenda item number 3, the Bach Community Garden Award, Middleton Endowment Grant. No action taken on this one.
The community garden has been looking into grants to help fund their programming, and they received the Middleton Endowment Grant for $1,000. So far, they've bought 2 new garden beds. And they have soil and compost and other parts that they will be buying with it. So the grant was specifically for the beds and the things that are going to fill those beds, and they received that award and have started planning for it, which is great. And I'm gonna just add on to the Middleton Endowment. Friday afternoon, another grant was received. They're kind of rolling in these grants now, which is awesome. And the title of the project is the Bach Children's and Food Pantry Garden Project. So the first grant was for the entire garden, and this one is going to be for the children's garden portion of it, and within the children's garden, growing food specifically for Way Forward. So they just awarded that for $500, and they're going to be moving forward in the children's garden with programming, which is going to be amazing.
Just as a reminder, the Bach Community Garden is our facility and our program, and the committee members are working with staff to essentially apply for that grant on behalf of the city. So they've done a lot of work already for grant writing, which is amazing.
They're in the middle of a 3rd grant right now that they're trying for. So they've just been doing awesome with trying to improve the garden. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next agenda item, the P and courts, court field and court fee schedule.
All right, so tonight we are presenting you with our fee in court schedule matrix, which is a lot right now. I'm gonna break it down, and really before we kind of get into, I know nobody can see this right now, so I'm gonna zoom it in. I gotta move this up here. Before we kind of get rolling and discussing each one of these fields and courts, I just want to preface this by we as a recreation division team are walking through this huge project, and it involves agreements with user groups, policies on which I'm hesitant to use this word, but categorize or prioritize what groups get get to make the reservation first. The school district has a model. We don't have any model or structure of, does the recreation department even get to reserve out first? There's nothing that kind of details that out for reservations. And then we have user groups, we have individuals that are renting our courts out, and in turn charging participants to make revenue off of our facilities. We have organizations coming to utilize our spaces and making revenue off of our spaces, 501c3 groups. We have residents that just want to reserve to have a family game or a tennis match or such, or play pickleball on a reserved court space. So we kind of have a really dynamic user group of our facilities. And tonight, the field and court fee schedule, we really haven't addressed a number of these fees in years. So we are looking at trying to get a fee schedule approved tonight at tonight's meeting, because we want to just give a little bump. They haven't been changed in over 10 years, some of them, or about 10 years for some of them. So we are looking at least bumping it up a little bit, but we're doing a deep dive, our entire team. I can't even think. 7 of us have reached out to numerous communities and all got examples of policies, fees from numerous departments. We're compiling that information and trying to develop a policy, a timeline, a prioritization of use, and
And a fee schedule.
and a more detailed fee schedule. But we have a lot of groups that are like, hey, we need to get spring on the books and schedule out your soccer fields. And so we're taking a look, and we know we have pickleball coming up, where people are getting very excited about our new pickleball courts that'll be opening up. So we're trying to at least address some of these fee discrepancies right now. But it's kind of a layered project in that we have a lot of user groups that within some old agreements that need to be adjusted, that were like essentially set up that you get free, you don't have to pay anything to use our lands, which definitely we will bring back and have those discussions. But within some of those agreements, they're not even getting charged this like resident rate. So this is for those that are reserving, that don't have this special agreement, I'll call it, or for use of our lands. But if we don't start with our baseline, I can't go into all those agreement conversations with all the user groups and make that transition for a fee structure. And really, one of our biggest goals we talked about as Parks and Rec staff is that everybody that's renting our fields out, or I would say a large percentage of those that are renting our fields out are closing access to those that want to use the space free of charge, or just show up and utilize the space. So when we look at closing access down and participants paying in a participation fee to a user organization, or paying a fee to play soccer and then utilizing our lands, we need to capitalize and look at how that affects our budget and trying to keep things affordable elsewhere in our department. So it's kind of a financial planning that we're walking through as well. That might be a whole heck of a lot of information, but just kind of to soak this in a little bit. We have baseball, softball, so all of our baseball, softball fields, right, down these 2 columns are current rate and when they were last updated. Most of them are 2016, the only ones that may have been addressed, which is, we didn't have pickleball courts, may have been addressed in 2022 were our tennis courts. So if we kind of look at this, baseball, softball, we're not looking at any change, simply due to the fact that we only had one one person reserve out our baseball, softball fields because we have agreements in place for MBSC to utilize all of our fields free of charge right now. And that definitely will be coming back to PRFC at some point. But this is just for residents. I'm not looking at adjusting this until we can do a really detailed evaluation of detailed evaluation of what other communities are charging, kind of what it costs us to prep a field for a resident to utilize. We might want to add things on like, hey, if they want lights at Orchid Heights, they could have lights, but that might be an upcharge. And that there's a flat rate, but you might get an additional charge if we have to line the fields. But if you just want to use the field, it might be a lower rate, an additional fee for lights are for us to line it. So we need to evaluate that a little bit further. I think it's healthy just to stay the same until we can look at that closer. Our small soccer fields, anything in red is what we're looking at updating or changing. So our small soccer fields for Orchid Heights and Middleton Hills South, we are looking at going up $5. So this is the resident rate. Currently, we're looking at $15 and then $20 for non-resident. It was $15. And then for lacrosse or football fields at Taylor Park, same thing there, a $5 increase. The large soccer fields at Penny Klein, we're looking at going up $5 for residents. And that would apply. And then we, the tennis courts and these are all per hour fees throughout. Looking at going up $5 for tennis and pickleball courts. We actually did a really, or a lot more deep dive into pickleball courts and tennis courts and that fee, and we evaluated very heavily on that. And we feel like if we came back to you, we're hoping to come back to you with a more evaluation on this fee structure again in the fall for next year's fees. And probably in about 6 or 8 months. So we're ready to go for 2027 because that's how long it's going to take us to get kind of the policy built in that and the timeline. But these fees we feel like we're confident with, and we don't think we're going to have to change those in the next year or so. And then as same with pickleball courts. We have new pickleball courts going in Lakeview, so it's important we get a fee identified for those. And then Taylor Park pickleball, we'd be looking at increasing quite a bit there. And the green space at Lakeview, we're going up $5. We're keeping up, that one's red, but it should be black. But we're keeping that one the same. We haven't really advertised that we at Firefighters Memorial Park, we have green space we reserve out there, but we'd like to see how many reservations we get in before we really identify a need to increase the fee. So I know I'm kind of cutting it off, but I wanted to make sure it was big enough. If anybody wants me to move around and look at anything specifically, I'm happy to answer questions.
The Sorensen fields on Mendota Avenue, the baseball fields, I believe they are. Do we know, those fields seem to be very well used. They're also in my route to where I go back and forth every day. Do we know if what we're spending to maintain those courts, if what we rent will help to cover or offset that? Or is that your deep dive that you're kind of?
So the Sorensen Bakken baseball field at Lakeview Park is what you're referring, or what she's referring to. That we don't even rent out any of our softball baseball fields really to the community. So like I said, we only had one rental and it was at Orchid Heights Park. We had a family baseball game. We do not invoice or receive any funding from the user groups that are at that use Sorensen Bakken for the entire year. So we definitely pour a lot of resources into the maintenance. I don't have the full dollar amount, but we will we will definitely have that when we talk about the user group agreements for that space.
So is there intention to start to charge? Did I hear you say you don't charge now?
We don't have a fee in our agreement. We will be bringing that back to Pure FC to review with us. But we're not bringing the agreement to you guys tonight, and those user groups have a special agreement with us that was set up before my time for sure, because that's not exactly the model that we as staff today would be recommending. Is we would like to cover our operational costs if we line the fields, if we drag them, if we mow the grass and get them ready for the user groups that charge fees to their participants. So
How about even the groups that don't charge fees to their participants? I guess, when I go by, there seems to be a lot of time that I see the city staff there, which is great, and I love maintaining our parks and all the things.
yeah,
But I don't know why there's so much attention to those fields that, on Mendota Avenue, and, like I saw Olson Toon fertilize.
Yep.
I've never seen Olson Toon fertilize another park.
oh, we do.
You do?
Yep, I have a contract and we look at equity throughout with Olson Toon. We do several ball fields, medians in the city, soccer fields, and the Taylor lacrosse and football fields they're applied to as well. So we have them applied across. Sorensen Bakken is one of the best fields in our system, and keeping the quality up of something that's a nice quality is important. But I don't manage the time that my staff team are out at every field, but we are generally going to be looking at some of that for operational expenses, and how they translate to the fee, that should be applied to the user groups. But so that.
I think it's important to maintain everything, and so seeing some just get extra is great, but should be throughout, in my opinion. Which it is, but just trying to, especially if there's not a fee, basically, for that to cover kind of things. I'm hearing what you're saying. I just wanted to voice that thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts or questions?
To that point, I would say I would be curious to know what like revenue was for last year, as well as cost for upkeep and setup, and just like generally what involved. It's not going to net out, but I would be curious to know what that looks like, and whether like the increase gets us to a place where we are maybe net even, or in a better place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was curious, it's like a non-resident reservation, something that happens all that often or not?
We have annual data report that on there. We don't for fields and courts, we don't have that many non-residents when it comes to soccer fields, but we do have a handful more in comparison with pickleball courts. So pickleball is a higher one where we see a lot more non-resident use. But the rest of them, I would generally say it's typically resident based for the rest of our facilities. That's a good question.
Speaking of pickleball, for just editing purposes, I know you're probably still
Oh,
working on this,
thank
but
you.
can take the 2 tennis courts out of Lakeview, 3 and 4. And then it looks like you only have 3 pickleball courts. Are there 6, right?
Yeah, half of them are reservable, and the other half are open for open play.
Wait, where are we doing this?
Right here. Lakeview tennis courts 3 and 4.
3 and 4 don't exist anymore, so.
Under current.
It'll be 1 and 2. Thank you very much. I like that. Okay.
Any other questions or concerns?
And then lastly, back to those baseball fields, those I think are locked. Are other fields locked? Just curious.
No, that's a really great question. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. So yes, we have the only I would say our locked fields are the soccer stadium, the soccer stadium out at Firefighters Memorial Park. All of the baseball diamonds at Firefighters are locked. Orchid, I work very hard to keep that open when it's not in season or like when we don't have lines prepped. So if we prep it for the night game, it's locked up until they play the game. But like when it is not being used, we keep that one open. But any ball field that has a fence around the entire perimeter is locked up. I'd like to continue reviewing that because that creates inaccessibility in the community in the neighborhood to and we do have Parisi Park ball diamond that's open because it doesn't have a fence around it, but every other one that has a fence around it, it's locked up, and the only people that can utilize it are the high school, MBSC, Middleton Youth Baseball, Softball, and the Hometown Talent League. So they're the ones utilizing all the ball fields that are locked up, not the residents.
I don't think Middleton built north is locked.
I was just pulling examples. I guess I can go through every tennis or every baseball field, but that doesn't have a fence around the entire perimeter of it. So yes, Middleton Hills North. Does that one have a fence around the whole outfield? No. Yep. So that's not locked up.
Rarely have people playing in it other than neighborhood kids just running around, maybe playing football or something.
MBSC utilizes that field for their organization. Yep. So, yep, the Middleton Hills North, Middleton Station, and Parisi Park are all accessible to the community. If that helps.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve the fee schedule. Okay, do you have a motion? Do you have a second?
Nelson will second.
Okay, Katie seconds. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, next agenda item will be the playground replacement plan.
Okay, this is just pulling up because I'm waiting for it. It's a little slow here. Okay, so the playground replacement program, yay. I've been working on this for close to 2 years now, and trying to get all the information from every single one of our playgrounds. Oh, yay. And this is a really big spreadsheet, and so I'll pull it up, and then we're going to go through each column here very quickly. I'm sorry, So on this playground replacement program, there was a previous one and it didn't have the pricing. What I flagged the most is that the original cost for replacement was way too low for us to really work through actually getting them replaced. And we'll go through these tiers and cost assumptions in a bit. But just looking through all of the playgrounds that are listed on here, go in order of the installation date. So this is a 25-year replacement program. And we have the location of each, the year it was installed, and the target year for replacement. And I did play with these a little bit, and that's why you see those negatives or zeros, is because we're behind. When it's a -2, we're 2 years behind on replacing Stonefield. And just to kind of show how far we are behind on some of them, that's how that calculates. And we on these, I have obviously we are doing Stonefield and Hawkridge this year, and next up is Middleton Hills South, Stricker, and it goes in order. based off of the year that it was installed. And I kind of played with these numbers to do 2 a year until we get caught up. So I have 2 a year until we get caught up in 2030, I believe. 2030, yeah, 2030, we should get caught up on all our playground replacements, and then we can, and what I like is that it's about the year that we have to get replacement for Lakeview Park, and that's our big one, and I'm hoping to actually add to that budget quite a bit for all ability playground. Woohoo. Okay. So, and then we added this as new condition rating. So we went through, and provided a condition rating with 5 being the best and 1 being the worst. And just kind of some general notes on, any issues with those playgrounds that we wanted to make note of. We have the age of user. So, this is important when we start picking out playground to replace for that area. Sometimes for Hawk Ridge, I'm sorry if I go back way too fast, I should not make you dizzy. But Hawk Ridge, we are actually gearing that to 2 to 5 years old because of how close it is to the school there and the space that we have located there. So we'll be evaluating that. And then all this information right here is just taking measurements of that playground use zone. So like the entire surface area from corner to corner, edge to edge, that makes up the playground, if it's the wood chipping or the poured in place surface. And if there's any separate structures, at Stonefield, there's a swing set way over here, and then the play, kind of more of that play structure in a different location. So we had to get measurements of both of those and get that total, kind of that total border linear foot, and our sandbox. If there's there, we have several sandboxes at our park locations. And getting that square footage in case we ever want to transition that into poured in place or extra playground square footage. So we got all the data from each of our parks, each of our playgrounds that we have in our replacement schedule. And then this is and we have our manufacturer and sales rep for our equipment. So we know if we needed to get replacement parts, where to get those from. And what I want to show you is I'm going to take this out of the playground replacement program because we no longer need this. But this is where, when I first started in Middleton, this is what they had outlined is here's the playground cost. Oh, I can't just highlight that column, but here's the playground cost. And we weren't able to move forward with replacing the playground. And it's important to note that you're not only purchasing the playground equipment that has exponentially increased, you're replacing that surfacing, you're replacing the border, you're getting benches, you're making sure you have ADA compliance into your playground. If you need transition zones, you really want to make sure that if you're funding a playground that you're doing the whole thing, not just part of it. We already have seen kind of what happened at Woodside Heights Park. We don't want to miss out something and then have to go back. We want to get it done so we can move on to the next playground. So this is this helps me for when we get to and helps all of us as we get to our capital improvement plan. And we know we have to ask for this amount of money to replace that playground. I have everything I need then to execute that project. And so what I will go, and obviously there's a large price difference, and we are basically multiplying the total playgrounds square foot area of our current and existing. And this is important. It can change. It can be reduced if we need to reduce playground square footage. We work on surveying each one of these parks out. Something that we'll look at in our next in 2 weeks here is the playground the playground square footage, and it affects a tree. Like if they go too big, we have one that may be affecting a tree, and we or your body may not want to, or you all may not want to affect or damage a tree. So looking at the square footage is important. I'm going way too into the weeds here. But then I did want to show the cost assumptions so that you understand the tiers, and then I'll be open for questions. I'm just so excited and nerding out because it took so long to get to this point. But the cost assumptions are in 3 tiers and they're color coded, and the average is really what I'm pulling to multiply it by that square footage. So the average of the first one is $32.50 per square foot. The second one is $60 per square foot, and the third one is $105 per square foot. And really the difference out of these, I'll just highlight the difference. So this one is like your typical wood fiber, engineered wood fiber playground. And they're like, you're kind of replacing it right in the same spot, not doing excavation. You're not getting a ton out of this one. But it is a replace in a like area. What I like about 2 and where I feel comfortable like going at tier 2 or higher is that you're getting this 25% of poured in place or turf safety surfacing. So selecting 25% helps with ADA compliancy. And when we do the ADA audit this year, it's going to highlight that our playgrounds are not compliant, right? And I can almost guarantee that I am not a consultant that does that, but I will, been around playgrounds long enough that they're going to come back with a recommendation to add compliancy in our playgrounds. And that is large in part our surfacing. And so having at least 25% where it goes to that transition area, you can get to the main deck. You can get to an ADA slide on that poured in place or that turf surfacing that's compliant is super important. If it's just wood chip, that's not really accessible. We're not making our playgrounds accessible. So I think that is really important to try to target tier 2 or higher for each of these playgrounds. I really want to try to get to that. We're doing a concrete border. That would be my standard for playgrounds is we're doing a concrete border that all of our mowers, if every single one of our playground had it's a flat concrete border that goes, it abuts flat to the surface of the grass. So our mowers essentially can just whip, I mean, they're not going at top speed here, but they can just go around the playground and be done with it. And we don't have to have seasonal staff come behind and trim around all the playground borders and edging. We'd be done with our mowing operations, and I think like X would be able to help with the maintenance time there. So that's another reason. And then for tier 3, that's where they do remove and dispose with kids around the world, and that's basically donating our playground equipment. And then this is all poured in place our turf surfacing and that concrete curbing, like I said. So this is a higher. You're getting quite a bit more for that one. So I don't know if anybody has questions with this or with the playground replacement program. But I'm looking for just questions or that to get to a point where we have an approved playground replacement plan ready for 2027 budget planning. Woohoo.
I have a question. Kylie, one of the playgrounds further down on the list has an entanglement hazard, large crack in center of slide. I'm wondering why that's been put off so long to get it repaired and not move it up above some of these others. I mean, I have no problem with the delaying Middleton Hill South, get rid of a real risky danger issue.
Yeah.
Just remove it if it's.
Yeah. I'm a little hesitant on removing playground equipment without replacing it. We saw what happened at the last park. We took a swing out. It definitely came back to us, right?
Mhm.
So
Suggesting, say, put Middleton's and switch places with Middleton Hill so this will get replaced sooner.
I do want to note, I don't want to move Middleton Hills from the next up next year, just as we have done the full survey work and have done all the work to prep because it was a part of our design this year, but we didn't have if you remember at our last one of our meetings, there was a decision to defer Middleton Hills South, but we did all the survey work. We've gotten everything ready for that replacement.
Well, this is a huge liability issue for the city if somebody gets hurt. And I'm too into safety. I want to see the equipment. If we know there's something dangerous, we need to get it replaced.
We can still keep Middleton Hills South on the docket for 2027 and swap out either, Stricker or, well, I'm seeing the district admin on South Ave is rated at 2, but we could swap out one of those other 2 for Lakeview East, because I thought the same thing. If we've got a condition rating 1, and it's not going to be replaced for another 4 years, at least 4 years.
The one thing that I wanted to see too, is kind of like how our court plan plays out if they're saying we should have a playground there. And what kind of what do they suggest? And I'm happy to always move these around and maybe we look at this right before budget again. It's not, I don't care so much. I think the order is important to know before we go into budget season. And I kept it at that. I kept all of it in order of years of installation. And this was the very first time that we ever got condition rating put on here. And our staff, along with our staff, we also had CIVMIC go out and do an assessment of all of our playgrounds ahead of the corp. And so I was kind of waiting to see how Blake's and Parkitecture brings this forward and how they prioritize with us. So definitely we're not, and that's why we had talked about bringing Hawkridge up to the top. The only thing that I struggle with are knowing that we for sure need a playground and then over there, and then how much do we replace it with? Because for lack of better analogy, it looks like a slide from the McDonald's playground, and it's probably our worst one in our system. It's not a great representation of our parks for sure. So I'm not opposed to seeing that one moved up, but I definitely want to highlight that Middleton Hills South, we put a lot of work into that park, and the last piece to kind of complete that park is the playground.
I understand.
Oh, yeah.
Can you at least put some sort of notice on that particular piece of equipment that it is unsafe and dangerous and don't use it? I just don't want to see a kid hurt.
What I can do is further evaluate that with the team and see, and then bring that back if we wanted to do a removal, if we're doing any removal from our play equipment from the play system. I think or from our park system, it would be important that you all have pictures of it and know the condition and make that decision that you're going to remove it. And because that's not an agenda item today, I'll go back and work with my team to figure that out. Of course, I want to make sure there's no snow or that I can get some more accurate pictures. I think we have some in our system already. So when they say entanglement hazard, it's based off of the criteria, or the entanglement is the large crack in the slide. So we can the replacement parts for the old slides like that are not worth the cost to replace them, but we can at least get that price of here's what it is to replace it, or here's what do we do in the meantime kind of thing. So I can work a little bit further. Maybe there's a solution that we can come up with as well.
Comments or questions?
There's not a lot of equipment at that park, or do all parks have to stay as a park with the play equipment, or, I mean, what's the criteria of just having it be open space? I don't know.
I think that's what I was referring to with our court plan is like I want to see feedback if there's feedback to keep play equipment there. We like to have walkable play equipment in all the neighborhoods, and I think because crossing a large street may be challenging for that neighborhood, or we have a park there, it doesn't mean we can further evaluate it in the corp, I think, for sure. I think that's the place for it.
That's an interesting part, just because I know it gets used a lot by the daycare center, so they're not gonna fill out the core plan. You know, they're not the ones that, but I know that the Harbor View, that little daycare center,
Okay.
they bring little strollers in all the time, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too, is like the neighborhood along abutting that park, and then who else uses it? We have a lot of different neighborhood parks that service daycares are different. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
I like the idea of having multiple tiers and, you know, kind of shooting for that tier 2, tier 3. But I know in the past, when we have put up a playground, requested funding for playground replacement, when there's been some budgetary questions for the city, playground replacements has often been something that has been cut from the budget by finance personnel. After the fact, you know, when we don't have an opportunity then to kind of come back to finance and personnel and saying, or council even, saying, well, if you're not going to give us that much money for playground, can we still get replaced for a lower amount? And I think, you know, the fact that we've had a few years where that has been cut from the budget, that's why we have a lot of the negatives. Or, you know, I know there's some other things that move around. You know, some of these are fairly large numbers. You know, we're talking about 6 figures for a lot of our tier 2, you know, replacements. And that's a fairly large budget number. What happens would we ever have the opportunity if finance or council says no to our request for playground replacement? Can we say, well, you're going to say no to $124,000? That's a bad example. You're going to say no to $318,000, but would you say yes to $172,000? You know what I mean?
No, we this is quite the game for us, right? I don't know what else term to use, but I think like making the request of what we need is important to do, regardless of knowing they might not approve the full amount. Like that's just my suggestion, but I also think that really justifying what it covers, and that it's like to create an ADA compliant playground for this space. But if they don't approve that amount, I think then if they approve, like they don't approve the 318 and they only do a 150, maybe that's when we look at adjusting what playground we're doing, or we start to move them around a little bit. And I don't know, might be something that we should bring forward to personnel and finance, this entire plan. Maybe not to the detail of this, but at least like here's our pricing tiers. And see if they can jump on board, like, so they understand these are playgrounds that we have in our system. If you're not funding this, we get negative, and we're not.
Well, and not only that, but, you know, a couple of them I know that were cut from the budget happened during COVID. And what happened right after COVID is the cost of everything just skyrocketed. So if they would have replaced it in 2020, 2021, like we had originally put forward, they would have been cheaper, right? You know, now we're going to spend more money to replace those exact same parks. And I think that's another thing that is, you know, us as a board, when we are going through a budget, have to make sure we're prioritizing these as our 1, 2, 3 to council if we really want to keep with the playground replacement plan in place. Susan.
You know, having served on finance and personnel for many years, one thing I would suggest is really stressing that some of these replacements are not just to make it look better because it's got rusty paint or so on. The huge safety issues and the ADA compliance, I would really stress that
just said that.
much harder to turn down a safety improvement than it is just making something look pretty. And I would really focus on that as a reason why we need this.
Okay.
Yes, and I will say, I am extremely aware of all the budget issues that the city is dealing with, and that's what owns us. So anything that you can make it where it's a safety issue, I think you'll get a much better response.
All right, thanks. Any other comments or questions? I have any. So are you looking for a motion to accept this, or is this more for
I would
information?
I would like to approve it at some point. I don't know if we do that tonight, but I would like at least an approved plan before we get to budget season.
Well, you do have on the agenda to approve, to review and approve. So I think therefore we should, since that is what you're looking for tonight, go ahead and accept the motion for approval. Anyone would like to do that?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Do we have any data on like use as well? Or is that gonna come out of survey?
We don't, we actually don't put use on here because we don't have like, we don't have monitors at every single park, and we don't have a system to collect really, really good data to then apply it to a program. So we have it based off of the 25-year, but we added in the condition portion. And I also hesitate to ever use because Nick brought this up at a previous meeting, as was a really good example, is like there was a really poor playground equipment at Orchid Heights, and it was like barely ever used, and then it got replaced with something really awesome, and now it's like a very heavily used space. So we don't like to utilize use for this.
I don't wanna couple it with like condition or the range and how long it's been replaced. I think the lack of use or a tremendous amount of use or the fact that like there could be dangerous aspects versus chipping paint. I think that's a ammunition or just general talking points for when budgeting is tough to kind of better quantify what's the highest importance and like kind of be a little bit more equitable in terms of what is prioritized. And like when you say like I can't do, or if something's prioritized for you, you're gonna have to deprioritize something else, right?
Yep.
So it's just generally kind of the fluctuation and using what we do know of these locations for that.
I think 25 years is picked because, from my understanding, that's the general life cycle of playground. You know, you should be able to get 25 years out of it. And at the time, we actually had 25 park playgrounds in the city. I think we've added a couple now to it, but yeah, so the goal was, when this originally came out a few years ago, was to do one a year. And then some years knowing you'd have bigger playgrounds in place. And it was originally done in order of their construction, just to keep with the 25-year life cycle of playground equipment. But we've had to make some emergencies, like some is, like were completely broken down or became very, very unsafe, a couple of years before their scheduled year of replacement. So we've had to pivot a little bit. And I think that as long as we have room for pivoting, if that does happen, yeah.
Real important.
Yeah.
Consideration.
I wonder, Lakeview Park has like 2 more, like little ones.
There's a like the dino section with swings and
So for Lakeview Park, we did not put on the play equipment that there's in the back, there's like a behind the pickleball tennis court facility that's being constructed. We're not looking at replacing that play equipment. Something that we're looking at doing is hopefully creating more of a gathering space on that side of the park and redoing the path structure, and then just to further add on to our shelter space and that area, there is a playground right next to the shelter, and then there is a splash pad and a larger playground. What our goal is in the future is that we would be looking at replacing the splash pad because that is in a it is degrading at a pretty rapid rate at this time, where we're going to need to address that in the next 5 years, at least to a design standpoint. But hopefully building out where that may be the entrance of, if we are replacing the splash pad, that it would be an all-ability splash pad and all-ability playground and in a larger footprint than the current what is it called? American Girl playground. So we wouldn't have two separate places, but we'd have a larger play area that would be identified, and the mobility of getting to the American Girl playground from the shelter would be changed. So kind of the design space, it doesn't mean that there would be a playground really far away from the shelter. I think we could look at how that got developed so that somebody could navigate through the park in a really safe way. But because there's parking and there's restrooms close and we don't have an all-ability playground, I think that's what we are trying to earmark. But that's a really good catch in here. We don't have every single piece of play equipment in replacement because it doesn't always make sense to replace those pieces of playground. But if this body has a different feeling or direction, I'm happy to take feedback for sure.
And my kids like all three of those.
Yeah.
And then I think it's on like school and like the kid playgrounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Always accept a motion to approve.
This is Nelson. I will move approval of Kylie's replacement plan.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
The motion is second. Any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. And that is the last of our agenda items on the liaison reports. Last week, Planning Commission heard a presentation of the city's affordable housing action plan. So they're trying to take some concrete steps to help with housing affordability here in the city. It's very long and it's somewhat complicated how the funding is the money's gonna come from, but they did have a pretty comprehensive plan to help with some of our, housing costs in the city. It's people who are renters, homeowners, looking at different housing stock. A lot of people can stand to benefit from some of the things that they have in place. So it's got along. I think they're hoping to implement it or have it approved sometime later this spring. Also, I've been joking, we have become the sign approval commission. Every meeting, I feel like we have a new sign to approve. We just approved a little sign downtown. So that's it. Has Conservancy Lands met?
Yeah, Conservancy I would say, and the one item was T-Wall wants to use Conservancy land to build their apartments. Conservancy and two apartments, both on Harvard Turner.
The Conservancy had done building that.
Yeah.
They want like move 15 feet onto our land near an oak tree.
And This is no discussion. It's Erica as the liaison for that committee, so we'll let her speak on that.
And it'll, I'm sure we'll hear, I'm wondering if we'll hear the.
For the forestry portion of it, how the ordinance is written for the purview, because that tree is located on conservancy land, that will not come towards PRFC for recommendation or review. If it was a tree on a terrace or a tree that was located in a park, then that definitely would be coming forward, but because it's on conservancy lands, how the ordinance is written.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think they're just going back to. There was no motion.
The motion that CLC made, and I can help, they deferred the item, and then they communicated to staff that they wanted staff to, we had a full recommendation brought forward. They directed staff to go back and take a look at the full one-page recommendation that we had put together over 3 days to come up with a new recommendation and work with developers and come up with an agreement to come back to CLC. I'm sorry, to come back to CLC with an agreed terms and make that motion.
Okay.
Or make that recommendation. So we're currently working with the city attorney, and we will determine what our recommendation is for a future CLC meeting.
Okay. Great. That is all of our agenda items tonight. So thank you all for coming, and we are adjourned. So enjoy your evening, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Katie.
guys.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.